On this edition of Lexington Now, Career Edge, the Lexington History Museum, and heat safety. I'm Neil Noah. Welcome to Lexington Now for the week of September 2nd, 2024. Lexington has a handy tool for those looking for work or simply looking to improve their current situation. It's called Work Lexington Career Edge. We sat down with Amy Glasscock, who walked us through the process.
My name is Amy Glasscock. I'm the Director of Business Engagement within the Mayor's Office here at Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. I work with workforce primarily, helping individuals that need assistance with finding employment, helping employers that need employees. We recently got a new program called WorkLexingtonEdge.com. It's to help any resident of Lexington Fayette County that would need assistance with finding employment. It's a learning management system. It's all online. WorkLexingtonEdge.com is the website. And with the program, you can do all kinds of things to help you find employment. Everything from creating a resume, you can practice your interview skills in the toolkit section of the website. You can do an interview simulation where someone pops on the screen that's recorded and they will ask you a question. You can record yourself, whether by your phone, laptop, tablet, whatever source that you have, and then watch yourself in answering that question. I can even on the back end watch that interview and give you feedback to how you did on that interview and answer that question. You can practice your applications. You can practice writing a cover letter. You can even do an assessment if you're not sure what career that you're interested in. You can do an assessment that tells you kind of what your strengths and weaknesses are and the type of career that you would be best suited for. There's 18 life and professional skills modules. 9 are life skills and the 9 professional skills. The life skills are focused primarily on things like your attitude, being on time for work, getting along with others, team players, things like that. The professional skills is very much focused on learning how to do a job search, learning how to work on your resume, very specific skills for finding employment. It's very easy to access Work Lexington Edge. All you need is your name, an email address, and your zip code to create an account, and then from there you can immediately go in and use it anytime you want to. It's open to anyone in Lexington Fayette County. Shortly after coming into this position, I recognized that people just didn't know how to create a resume, and there wasn't a source available to individuals here in the city. And so people were just going into like a Word document and trying to type up a resume without having a template to kind of guide them and what to do. And so we felt with the Work Lexington program that that was something needed, that individuals can come into our workforce center and have access to that, or they can have access at home to be able to work on these modules as well. You know, ever since COVID, things kind of got changed and everybody wants to do everything online and that sort of thing. And so we definitely wanted to have something that was accessible both in our workforce center, but that they could use at home as well. If you're a new user to the website, you would just go to WorkLexingtonEdge.com. You would put in register here, or click on register here, and then from there you would put your name, your zip code, and if you're working with one of our partners such as Jubilee Jobs or Lexington Rescue Mission, you would click those partners that you're working with, and then it would take you immediately to the life skills module. With the life skills, you can start, you can click on one of the, like say, team player, for example, and a video will pop up and you can watch that video. It's only a couple minutes long, and there's actually even assignments that you can do if you want to do those assignments. And then there's even a book that will come up on the screen if you choose to read instead of listen to the video, and you can read the book. And then you can complete each one of those modules. If you just want to go in and you don't need the assistance of actually learning and reading or watching the videos, then you can go directly to the toolkit and start working on your resume, your applications, your cover letter, all those types of things that are going to assist you. But it leads you all the way through and tells you exactly what you need to put, and it'll even give you some suggestions if you don't know what to put in your resume. This is open to everyone. It's good for both youth and adults. Specifically, those that are job seeking is who it's best for. But if you're just wanting a career change and you haven't looked for a position in say 20 years, things have changed a lot. So this can give you some new and updated tips and ideas on how to apply for employment and changes you need to make to your resume that you may not have done 20 years ago. They can email me at aglasscock@lexingtonky.gov, or they can call 258-WORK and leave me a message, and I will get back with them as soon as possible.
The Lexington History Museum preserves some of Lexington's past for its future. Dr. Amanda Higgins tells us about their newest location where they've been for the last year.
We exist to tell Lexington's history, all of Lexington's history from before 1775 through today, and to do that in a museum setting in an engaging way that helps us understand who we were, who we are, and who we may still be. Thanks to the leadership of Mayor Pam Miller in 1998, we were established under a charter with 4 founding members. We spent the first 10 years or so of our life in the old courthouse on Main Street. And then in 2012, as we all know, mold, dust, and asbestos and all kinds of things that make you sick were found in that space. And so it was no longer safe for us to be there. The objects, the people, it just wasn't the appropriate place. So we were closed for about 10 years. And then thanks again to the city and to the leadership of council and to Mayor Gorton, we have a 3-year startup grant, and that allowed us to move into this space, the Thomas Hunt Morgan House at 210 North Broadway. This building is stewarded by the Bluegrass Trust, but it has a long history. So the original townhouse was built in 1869 by Charlton and Ellen Morgan, who there's a long history, and Bluegrass Trust can tell you all about it, or you can come to the exhibit and learn. But eventually it was deeded to the Women's Club of Central Kentucky in 1965. And so this has been a space that has sort of shaped Lexington in a lot of ways, and to then turn it into a museum, to make it a truly usable space for the city, and to work in partnership with our friends at the Bluegrass Trust is just really excellent. So the public can come Thursdays and Fridays 12 to 4 and Saturdays 10 to 4, and they will experience what we're calling a get your toes wet Lexington history. So our job, our goal is that when you come in, you will learn something new about Lexington. You'll get a chance to explore it, but we're not here to give you the deep dive about Henry Clay. Right? That exists at Ashland. We're not here to give you the deep dive where those deep dives exist elsewhere. We want to go and to talk about things in Lexington that don't necessarily have a place where they're being held at the moment. So you'll learn about IBM and the ways that it transformed the city. You'll learn about Thomas Hunt Morgan himself, the first Kentuckian to win a Nobel Prize. You'll get to touch hemp that's already been processed. So that's what we're looking to do. And then if you want to learn more, we want to help you learn more. So it may be, we'll say, oh, you are really interested in whatever clay person. It may be, go see our friends at Ashland. Or you are interested in something that we know is held at the University of Kentucky, and we can send you there to learn more. So we will be hosting field trips and group tours. We're not an event rental space necessarily, but we can talk to folks if they're interested in partnerships or collaborations that would make sense with the museum. We will schedule tours Monday through Saturday, though we encourage you to think about Monday through Wednesday when we're not open to the public to have more of a private tour, and definitely a field trip. We depend on a cadre of volunteers and a board. We do have an intern every year. So if folks would like to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteer docents, people to help us with archiving and cataloging our collection and describing our collection. So we would love to, and you can learn more about that on our website at lexhistory.org. We really hope that Lexington will embrace us being back open to the public, and we hope you will come see us. Thursdays and Fridays 12 to 4, Saturdays 10 to 4. There is an admission fee. You can find all of that information at lexhistory, lexhistory.org. Please come see us.
Staying safe in the heat after this.
Hello everyone, I'm Tiffany Brown, Equity and Implementation Officer in the Mayor's Office and Chair of the A Sense of Place Committee. I'm here today to talk about A Sense of Place, an initiative dedicated to preserving the history of Lexington's rural Black hamlet and celebrating those that remain active today. More than 20 historic Black hamlets have been identified in Fayette County. Most are located in rural areas. Our historic hamlets have been and are home to generations of lived experiences, traditions, and culture. Houses, churches, schools, grocery stores, agricultural enterprises, and lodge halls for community gatherings were found in many hamlets. A Sense of Place is a partnership between community members with direct connection to our hamlets and the city of Lexington. Its goal is to raise awareness about what the hamlets represent and to identify steps that are needed to take to preserve their history. The A Sense of Place Committee includes local historian Yvonne Giles, local historian Calvin Graves, Executive Director of the Lexington History Museum Mandy Higgins, Haydentown resident Dr. Alvin Seals, Haydentown Baptist Church pastor Reverend Leon Slatter, and others. With support from members of the Haydentown community, A Sense of Place is currently raising funds for maintenance updates and programming of the Haydentown Rosenwald School and property located at 705 Hayden Lane. In the early 2000s, members of the Haydentown community worked with the city to preserve the school. In the early 20th century, Rosenwald schools were found across the South, serving rural Black children and families during segregation. Many of the buildings have been destroyed. Lexington is proud that the Haydentown School still stands and wants to preserve the history and significance that so many of these schools have had in our hamlet communities. The funds will complete the restoration of the school and upgrade the historic cemetery and church building. The school will permanently house artifacts that tell the story of Lexington's hamlet. We hope you will join us.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. The warm weather months are the time to get out and enjoy the great outdoors, but they also require caution when it comes to heat. Emily Fay has some pointers.
When it comes to being outside in the summer heat, it's important to take breaks, stay in the shade as much as possible, and really work on staying hydrated. So drinking lots of water or beverages that don't have caffeine or lots of sugar. Caffeine dehydrates you. As much tasty it is, and we get our sugar and we're all jived up, it is actually dehydrating. So if you're having a Dr. Pepper, balance it out with water. Your normal intake, maybe try to double that. Just imagine, whatever you're sweating out, you need to replenish. It's important to wear light, loose clothing in a lighter color to prevent yourself from overheating. So dark colors, heavy fabrics, trap the heat, will not help. But if you're outside, you have a loose shirt on, it's a light color, it will help the air move around you freely and breathe and help you enjoy the summer longer. When you're outside in the sun for long periods of time, you want to make sure you have sunscreen. They recommend you start SPF 30, SPF 45, but that all depends on your skin tone and how easily you burn and how long you'll be exposed. You want to keep in mind that the UV is highest between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and so you want to make sure you're protected, especially during those hours. When you're taking your pet for a walk in the summer, you got to monitor the temperature of the asphalt. Put your back of your hand on the asphalt for about 5 to 7 seconds. And if it hurts you, it's going to hurt them. Their paw pads are extremely sensitive, so when they touch the asphalt, it will actually burn and peel off. I mean, it's just like you burning the bottom of your foot walking on asphalt in July. It's not fair. But they can also exhibit signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And overheat, you can't see their skin and see that it's hot and red, but you can tell when they're overheating, excessive panting, they can't cool down. So it's important to keep them inside during those hot times, offer them lots of water, and make sure they have a chance to rest and recuperate. For heat-related illnesses, there are 3 types. There's heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. So heat cramps are characterized by heavy sweating during intense physical activity, and then obviously muscle cramps or spasms. So you're out playing soccer, it's 90 degrees, all of a sudden you go down, your leg's cramping. That would be a heat cramp. You would stop the physical exercise and start rehydrating, give yourself time to rest. Move to a cool location or at least in the shade to allow your body to cool down. So heat exhaustion is a much more serious type of heat illness. In this case, you see heavy sweating, weakness, your skin gets cold and pale and clammy, which seems like the opposite of a heat illness, but it is a dangerous sign. Of course, you can see fainting and vomiting as well. When you see someone with signs of heat exhaustion, it's important to slowly start reintroducing liquids to them. You also want to try to cool the person down. You can use cool cloths, areas of heat release, that could be like your armpits, the inside of your legs, your wrists. Signs of heat stroke include someone whose skin is hot dry, and red, as well as a temperature of over 103 degrees, a fast pulse, headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion, and sometimes loss of consciousness. If you see someone with any of these signs outside, it's important to get them to medical attention right away. You want to loosen their clothing, try to cool them down, but be careful not to force too much water into them because they may throw it right back up and it's not going to do anybody any favors. You can still enjoy your summer, it's just a matter about being safe when you do it. So if you're outside between 10 and 2, the points where it's the hottest of the day, take lots of breaks, go into the shade to cool down, and monitor your activity. You see yourself start to overheat, that's time to take a break. By no means do you have to stop enjoying summer, just do it carefully. But for more information about heat safety, you can visit BeReadyLexington.com or follow us on any social media pages, including Facebook, X, which is Twitter, or Instagram.
The Kentucky Theater's Freaky Fridays movie series brings a little scare to the screen one Friday each month. Max Morris gives us a little preview.
My name is Max Morris. I'm the programming coordinator and film programmer here at the Kentucky Theater, which basically what that means is most of the film selection, both the newer films and the older films, is mostly the work I do here. Going into our second round of Freaky Fridays after a very successful first year, and so yeah, should be starting next Friday, April 19th, with Holy Mountains, the first of this round of movies. And yeah, when it comes to these Freaky Friday movies, I kind of like, because the thing that makes repertory programming kind of difficult sometimes is most of these movies, unlike new movies, it's one you can find anywhere pretty much on streaming, video, or stuff. So I tried to pick movies that I think will provide really fun kind of crowd communal experiences for a lot of these sort of cult movies, you know. So whether it's something really shocking or something funny or something action-packed, I like to pick movies that really go for a good crowd experience that way, to kind of give a benefit over watching them at home. We do kind of cult or midnight movies is kind of what we do generally, but it's everything from like Daisies, it's like a Czech art house movie, to Miss 45, which is a sort of violent revenge movie, anything to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is just kind of a crazy campy comedy. So yeah, it really runs the gamut as far as genre goes. The Kentucky Theater has a very rich history from even back to the 70s, 80s as far as doing like midnight cult films. It was kind of something the theater built a legacy on, starting even back in the 70s, showing these sort of cult midnight movies, and people would come out late. It'd be sort of a very kind of rowdy crowd experience and a lot of fun. And I mean, we always have done Rocky Horror. It's kind of always been a signature of the theater. Every month, last Saturday, we do Rocky Horror, and we've even had sellout shows in the 800-seat theater for that. So yeah, these cult midnight movies have always been a big part of the theater's identity, and that's why we decided, when this new management group took over the theater that I'm a part of about 2 years ago at this point, we decided we'd start doing kind of a planned monthly cult film series, and that's what Freaky Fridays has been. So yeah, this is just the second year of Freaky Fridays, but cult film definitely has a rich history here in the Kentucky Theater. The kind of work is like almost year-round, where I'll just kind of watch movies at home or hear about movies, and I'll take note of them. So I have a very long kind of short list I work from of cult movies all year round, and then whenever it comes around to actually picking the movies, I'll have to, because sometimes with some of these cult films, if they're really obscure, they can be hard as far as finding rights or availability. So I'll usually have a really long list, try to find availability on all of those, and then the actual film selection process is usually just about a month of research and stuff, but it's really a year-round job as far as just keeping an eye out for stuff that I think will be good for the series. KentuckyTheater.org is our website, and that's theater with an R-E at the end, and should be a page for Freaky Fridays, and we'll keep that running pretty much all the time, because every year we're going to refresh with new Freaky Friday picks. But yeah, KentuckyTheater.org is our website, and that's where you can find all the Freaky Friday movies, and tickets should be on sale for all of them year-round, even if you want one for one even early next year. It's never too early to buy tickets, just if you want to reserve your spot. But yeah, KentuckyTheater.org is where you can find any information on that and all kinds of other cool stuff we have coming up. Usually for repertory, we keep it a little cheaper than our regular tickets. So yeah, $6.50 each for all the tickets for Freaky Fridays all year round. It really varies based on the movie, but I would say generally we get a very it's an interesting audience. You get a lot of older audience who have been regulars at the theater since the 80s, 70s, when I said this kind of tradition started of these late night cult movies. So you get kind of that audience. Then you have a lot of UK students. I think with the really Freaky Friday, it's really had a young audience, which is good, because we've really kind of expanded. A lot of people coming to Freaky Friday, they'll say, oh, this is my first time at the theater. This is my first time seeing this movie that's one of my favorites on the big screen. So yeah, it's an interesting mix, but I would say it leans towards college age, and UK students tend to be kind of our biggest audience for a lot of those cult movies. Phantom of the Paradise is definitely one of my favorites. It's a Brian De Palma, kind of a campy musical with Paul Williams. I'm a big fan of like 70s kitsch, and that movie scratches all the right spots as far as that goes. Yeah, and really love that one. And then I really love Spring Breakers too. Harmony Korine, I'm a big fan of his work. And if you've never seen the movie and just kind of seen the trailers and the posters, it's won't spoil anything, but it's definitely not what you'd expect. So yeah, I definitely would recommend that one. But yeah, I love pretty much all of these ones. I'm really happy with this selection, but I'd say if I had to pick a few favorites, yeah, Phantom of the Paradise and Spring Breakers, I'm probably most excited for. Thank you to everybody that supported this series so far. If anybody's come out, and if you haven't come out, I definitely recommend checking it out because it's always really fun movies, really fun crowds, and yeah, just really excited to get, again, I do most of the programming here, but this is kind of my favorite series of everything we do just because it's always been the type of movies that I've drawn to, the kind of things that I really got into the theater going experience for. So yeah, just everybody that has come out for these Freaky Fridays, thank you for coming out, and anybody that hasn't, I definitely recommend checking it out. Holy Mountains, the April 19th, starting out there, and that's definitely got some really amazing images that are going to look great on the big screen. It's a 4K new remaster, so yeah, just definitely would recommend checking these out. If you haven't been to the theater, and be a great time to see it first. If you have been to the theater, it's definitely a fun audience. So yeah, just thank you everybody for supporting, and please keep coming out for these. 10 o'clock, it's the third Friday of every month, and yeah, always a fun time.
Live meeting coverage continues busy as ever on Lex TV and streaming online. And remember, you can find the most up-to-date information on non-televised city business at lexingtonky.gov. Here's this week's meeting coverage. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on X at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it.